Good morning. This is the Virtual PBX admin training. Sorry for the slightly late start today. We do record these trainings. They last about 30 to 40 minutes. If you can't stay for the whole time, you can always come back and view the recording later. This training is designed to show you where things are. We don't go into a lot of depth on a lot of the features. In the show notes, you'll see several links there, and the most important is the support.virtualpbx.com, where you can look up the specific features and the step-by-step instructions for them. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Here you have our Dash login page, which is at dash.virtualpbx.com. To get logged in, we need three pieces of information. The first is your username. That's your email address in all lowercase letters. Then we need your password, which is case sensitive, and the account name, which is your organization name, and that is not case sensitive. And then you would click the sign in bar. If you're having problems, then just above the sign in bar, click on the forgot your info link, and you want to click there. It's going to flip the box around. We still need your email address, and then we need one of the two following pieces of information, the easiest being the account name. You then click on the reset password bar here. This is going to send you an email. Follow the instructions in that email. It will let you change your password. Once you change your password, it logs you back out. So then you come back here. You have the option here to click on Remember Me, but then you can then sign into your dashboard. And once you get signed in on your dashboard, you are taken to your dashboard page, which gives you a brief snapshot of your system. We're going to start up here at the top where you can click on your name. It's going to open up a big old pop-up. This takes you to your user account page, which is where you would go to change your password. As a system admin over here on the left, you can click on the account level settings. And the most common thing that's changed here is the time zone and language. So that way everyone has the right time zone for where you're located. As an admin, you can also access add-ons. This adds additional features to your account. This includes things like text forward, multiple auto attendance, advanced reporting, dynamic caller ID. You have the billing portal link over here on the right, or left, sorry. And then you have this link here. That is where you would go to access your billing information. So you can update your payment details or see previous invoices. Any system admin can click on cancel account here on the left, and then click on the red cancel button over here on the right, fill out the forms. This will close the account at the end of the current billing cycle, at which time you'll get a final invoice. Once you're done here, we'll click on the close box at the top right. To the right here of my name, I have D&D. That stands for Do Not Disturb. Mine is currently active, meaning my user is not accepting calls. So calls to me are going to voicemail. Then we have the little phone icon. This opens a new tab and takes you to webphone.virtualpbx.net. If you have a web phone device on your user, you can log into this page, and then you can use your browser, specifically Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, to make and receive calls. This does count as a VoIP phone. Little speech bubble icon here. This opens a new tab. It takes you to virtualtext.app. That page has its own login information, and that is how you would make use of the virtual text feature. Then we have the question mark icon here. This opens up a chat window at the bottom right of your browser so you can speak to our support team so they can help you with a particular feature you're working with. The hamburger icon, the three horizontal lines, this is the menu icon. This gets you to other Dash features, which we'll be covering towards the end of this training. And then the little right arrow icon here, that's to log out of this page. Skipping down here to the middle of the page, total users. I have 6 users on this account. That means I'm paying for 6 people to make and receive calls. Then I have total devices, 15, and a breakdown of the types. these three right here, the soft phone, web phone, and SIP phone, these are all different kinds of VoIP devices, so something to be aware of. Total numbers, I have 14 phone numbers on the account and a breakdown of the types. Assigned numbers means the number I'm using. Spare number, it's on my account, but I'm not currently using it. And then here I have USDID, which is just a US local number, or US toll free, which would be an 800 number, or 888 all the way down to 833. Over here back towards the top right, this main number block, these three numbers all behave the same way. They're going to the same part of my system, and they all have the same main greeting. The conference number, you have multiple conference room numbers if you want. They're going to the same set of conference rooms. And that's the number everyone dials to join a conference, including your staff. The fax box number, you can have one main fax box number, and this is your inbound fax number. And this also allows you to edit the fax box, which we'll be getting to later. The company directory, there's two links here. The first is CSV, just downloads that file. You can use it with your favorite spreadsheet program. It's going to show all your users, their names, their email addresses, their extension numbers, and their devices. The soft phone link is for use with the VirtualPBX desktop soft phone. So if you're using our soft phone app on a Mac or Windows PC, you can download this file and then upload it to your VirtualPBX soft phone. In your contact list, you'll see your other staff members who are using the VirtualPBX soft phone, and you'll see the status of their VirtualPBX soft phones, i.e. whether they're on a call or not. VirtualPBX Store, this opens a new tab, takes you to store.virtualpbx.com, where you can buy things like a VoIP phone, among other things. The account realm, this is unique to each account. It's used for two things primarily. The first is it's one of the three pieces of information you need to program or provision a third-party soft phone app. Right? So you're using someone else's app. The other thing it's used is for outbound faxing, which again, we'll get to when we get to faxing. Now we're going to go up here to this blue bar. We have caller ID. When you click on this button here, it opens up a little pop-up. This pull down lets you select one of your main numbers. That number becomes your default number on the account. For instance, and probably most importantly, this is what your VoIP phones would use for their outbound caller ID, which would allow them to make outbound calls to begin with. And then you would click on Save Changes. Hold music. This allows you to upload a .wav or .mp3 file up to 1 megabyte in size. Click on the Browse button here, and then the up arrow icon, and then Save Changes. This hold music file becomes a default hold music for all your staff, and this is after a call has reached your staff members. If one of them has picked up their phone, and then they press the hold button on their VoIP phone. That's when this media file will play. Hours is part of main number, which we'll get to shortly. But before we do, over here on the left, we're going to click on Users. Users, these are people on your account who make and receive calls. Up here at the top is where you would add a user. And you would fill out the form, right? First name, last name, pretty easy. The email address used for login, this needs to be unique for each user, right? No reusing email addresses. This is how the system communicates with your staff, right? Voicemail notifications, password resets, etc. Create a password for the user, and then enter an extension number. By default, the system will automatically create a voicemail box for the user. You can choose to have them in the user directory or not. That's something you can change at any time. You can send emails to an alternate address. So if you want those voicemail notifications to go to email address other than the one used for login, you can click on this box and enter an email address in the box provided. This is also something you can change later. And then the last option here, send credentials to the user, which I do recommend. If you do have that checked, once you click on these buttons at the bottom, the user is sent an email welcoming them to the Dash account and has their login information. Now, once a user is created, you can click on their name and you can adjust information, right? So if you had a typo in their name, you can change their credentials here. You can change their voicemail box PIN number here. Here's the option to be sent to an alternate address. Here's the directory option. Over here on the top right, This box is a pull down, so you can change a user into an admin or an admin to a user. The little clock icon, this allows you to change the time zone for the user. Excuse me. The little flag icon, this lets you change the display language of these web pages for the user. Ring and timeout by default is 20 seconds, which is plenty of time to a VoIP phone or a landline. If you have a user who's only using a cell phone, you'd want to increase this to at least 30 seconds. Extension number box, you can have a user have multiple extensions. Just click on add an extension and then add the extension number and then save changes. Users can have their own phone numbers. These phone numbers are available 24/7. No hours of operation or anything. The options are down here at the bottom. In the support pages, just look up DID phone number or adding a phone number. That will tell you how to go through all the steps. The device box for the user, that's where you want to add devices to a user. I'm just going to cover the soft phone type. So click on new device here and select a soft phone. Now, whenever you add a soft phone or web phone, you get this warning message. Please read it at least once. And then a big box will show up here. Now, it defaults to using a third-party soft phone, meaning you're using somebody else's soft phone app. That's fine. You'd want to just copy this information here, right? The SIP username, click on the SIP password, copy that, and then the account realm. Those are the three pieces of information you need to program or provision that soft phone. Now, if you want to use a VirtualPBX soft phone, you don't have to do all of that. Whereas right below the view configuration guide, there's a toggle that says use third-party application. When you click on that, it flips it, and now it says use VirtualPBX application. Now all you have to do is give it a device name, click on create device, and then save changes. Once you click on save changes, this user gets an email saying their VirtualPBX soft phone is ready. In the body of the email, they're going to have their username and password to log into the app. And then there's also download links. It's like they can download the app to the device they want to use it on. For other devices, again, use that support page link. You can look up like adding cell phone or landline. There's also in the support page links should be, or actually in the show note links, there should be the auto provisioning phones document, and that is adding SIP phones to the account. All right, user features. There's a bunch of them here. I'm just gonna cover them briefly here. Caller ID number. This allows you to set the user's phone number as their outbound caller ID instead of the main number on the account. Voicemail boxes. Voicemail boxes on the account can hold up to 100 messages. After that, they're full. You can check your voicemails either by calling in or by going to your user portal page, which we'll get to at the end. You're also emailed the MP3, so you can at least listen to them, but to manage them, either calling in or viewing the website. Follow me, this is for users with multiple devices. If you notice that this user has 3 devices, right now, if a call comes into them, all 3 devices ring. Right, if I don't want that, or the user complains to me and they say they don't want that, then I would come to the follow me settings, click to enable, and then I choose which devices to make use of by unchecking them, and then clicking and dragging these little green bars to give them a ring time. Along the top, these are timestamps. It defaults to 120 seconds. I can change that down and hit enter. And then I can also click distribute. Right? So now it equalizes out between my 2 devices. If I need to change the order, I can click and drag and then click distribute again. All right, and then I would click save changes. Now, one thing to know is if this user is part of a group, calls from the group ignore the follow me settings. All right, fax box. This allows you to assign a fax box specifically for this user by either giving them another extension or a different phone number. I recommend a phone number. Conference bridge. This enables the conference feature for the user so they can moderate or host a conference. Call forwarding. This allows for call forwarding on this user. If a user, you've added a cell phone number, right? So that's right here, the cell phone. I don't need to make use of call forwarding on this user because I'm already forwarding out to the cell phone number anyway. Now, if this user only had a VoIP phone, then what I would want to do is have failover mode enabled. So that way, if their VoIP phone goes offline, I can automatically forward to a phone number I designate. There's nothing else I have to do. Call recording. This allows you to record inbound and outbound calls for the user. Music on hold. This lets you upload a hold music specifically for this user, just .mp3 or .wave, up to 1 megabyte. Do not disturb allows me as an admin to put a user on do not disturb so they don't receive calls, or disable it so they can get calls. And then hot desking is a VoIP phone feature. This allows you to log into a VoIP phone that you're sitting at, i.e. you don't have like a set desk. You can sit down, log into the phone, and then calls will come to you at that phone. All right, next up we'll go to groups. Groups are departments, also referred to as hunt groups or ring groups. Up here at the top, you would click on add group, give it a name, give it an extension number, and click and drag your staff members that you want to be in the group. Click on create group. Once you've done so, you can click on the group's name. You can always change the name if you need to. The group call attempts is how many times the system offers an inbound call to the members of the group. There's little arrows here where you can increase or decrease it. And then you can click on save changes. The members box shows the people you've assigned to the group and how you're offering calls to the members. In this case, I'm offering calls to my staff members in order. These are sliders though, so I can adjust the sliders. So I could do something like this. So I can do a blast ringing or ring all in this scenario. Right, there's timestamps up here and it defaults to 120 seconds. I can also change the order and click distribute if I wanted to. Down here is where you can add more users to an existing group. Groups can have multiple extension numbers if you want them to. Just click on add extension and enter that new extension number and then save changes. Groups can have their own phone number. They can have multiple phone numbers if you want them to. Just either add from spare or buy new. Use that support page link about adding phone numbers. Just like on a user, a phone number on a group is available 24/7. Group features. Ringback is essentially hold music for the group, i.e. this file will play until one of your staff members picks up. Just upload, find the file .wave.mp3 file. The main thing to know is the system does not loop the file for you. So you want to make sure that the file length, right, how long it plays, matches or exceeds the total ring time of the group. Next action. If no one picks up, what do you want the system to do? In the pull down here, select where you would send the caller. Voicemail box, another group, a specific user, etc. Allow call forward. If you enable it, that means your users can make use of call forwarding. Caller ID prepend. This is for your VoIP phone users. You can add additional text or numbers in front of the caller ID that shows up on their VoIP phone. This is to give your staff members a heads up about the kind of call they're going to take. All right, so with users and devices and groups, we can go to main number now. Main company numbers, these are your default numbers that people dial to reach your staff. You can always add more numbers, either from spare or by new. Unassigning a number does not delete a number, it just moves it to a spare number status. You have a little gear icon here where you can update the E911, caller ID, etc. Office hours strategy, you can be open 24/7 or have custom office hours. If you choose custom, for each day of the week that you're open, put a check mark in front of that day, and then select your open hours in 24-hour or military time. Down here, you also have the option to be closed for lunch if you want to. Just put a check mark here and then set your lunch hours in 24-hour or military time, and then save changes. Office holidays, if you're closed for holidays, put a check mark here. And then over here on the right, you can click on add holiday. You have the option for single day, date range, or advanced. Each one of these creates a new row and you fill out the row appropriately. All right, select Christmas Day, give it a name, month and a date, save changes. Right, holiday, start date, end date, save changes, and then Memorial Day as shown. If you need to remove a holiday, click on delete and then save changes. Incoming call handling, this is how your system is handling those calls on those main numbers. Notice here I have open hours, after hours, and holidays. The first option here we're using is calls coming into my virtual receptionist during my open hours. Virtual receptionist is a link. The main menu, these are what people press on their phones to navigate through the phone system. Click on add route to give yourself additional menu options. You have the default action 0 through 9 and the star key. And then here, anything you've created on your system. User, group, devices, voicemail box, etc. If you don't need a menu option any longer, just click on the X to the right of it. Greetings, this is where you say thank you for calling, and then you want to give instructions, right? Press 1 for sales, 2 for support, that sort of thing. Text to speech, it's just that you type in a greeting and the system reads it out in a computerized robotic voice. You can upload your own file, .wav.mp3 file, up to 1 megabyte. Existing recordings shows all your media files on the account, and then you can choose one that's appropriate. Record it over the phone, excuse me. The system wants you to use a VoIP phone on the account. Now, if you don't have a VoIP phone on the account, that's fine. You would then go to settings, and where it says allow outside recording, turn this to on. Now, this means anyone can call in with a cell phone or landline. And if they know this PIN number, they can change your main greeting over the phone. Now, this PIN number is only viable during the open hours, right? This time of day that it's in. Right? We're in my open hours receptionist, so this PIN only works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Right? So if I call Saturday, not working. Professional recording services, when you click order, this opens up a new tab, take you to Snap Recordings, which is a completely separate company, where you can order a professionally done recording and they email you the file. So then you would just upload your own file. Under settings, number of retries on missed dials, how many times your inbound caller can make a mistake. They have a built-in attempt, and anything you add here is on top of that. So in this case, my inbound callers have 2 total attempts. Dialing timeout is how much time the system listens for additional button presses, i.e. someone's trying to dial an extension number. Allow dialing extensions, by default, this is on. If you turn this off, that means your inbound callers can only press your menu options. Anything else is an invalid entry. Suppress the playing of invalid entry. So on the final attempt, the system will say, we did not recognize your call. Now, if there's a default action, then the system will transfer the call. If there's no default action, it'll say, we did not recognize your entry, goodbye. The reason you would want the suppression on is if you're transferring the call, right? So it's less jarring for your inbound caller. So any changes you make to your main menu, your greetings, or your settings, you want to click save down here at the bottom, and then save changes when you're back under incoming call handling. All right, for after hours, I'm using the second option, which is the live operator answer option. This pull down lets you select something on your system, like a user or a group. It basically, what it's doing, it's giving them an opportunity to answer the call. If they're not able to, then the caller gets sent to the virtual receptionist. This is my after hours, so I have different menu options and a different greeting. For holidays, I'm using this third option. This pull down is something on your system. Groups, users, media file, certain phone, whatever you want. And then the extra option of skip to voicemail. The second pull down is any voicemail box on the account. Main conference number, you can have multiple conference room numbers if you want. And then you can then customize this greeting, which is text to speech. Just click to enable and type in what you wanted to say. Even if you leave this as disabled, when you call your conference number, the system says welcome to the conference and then prompts you to enter the conference room number and PIN number. The main fax box number, you can only have the one main fax box number, but then you can edit the fax box. Inbound notification email, to the box to the right, enter an email address, and that email address gets notified every time a fax comes through, including a PDF attachment of the fax itself. Just bear in mind, if someone dials your fax box number and hangs up, this person or this email just gets sent a message that there was a failed inbound fax attempt. Email permissions, in the box to the right, you can enter in an email address or your company's email domain, like we've done here. And this, when you use the company domain, and so for instance, at virtualpbx.com, everyone at VirtualPBX can send a fax out on this account, even if they're not a user. Now, to send a fax out, they create an email from the virtualpbx.com email. In the to field, they put +1 area code and phone number, no spaces, dashes, or parentheses. Right? Then they have the @ symbol and then the account realm. Then they just need to attach a PDF or TIFF file. The system looks at the to field, the from field, and the attachment. Anything you type in the subject line of the email or the body of the email is not being transmitted. Only one recipient per email, only one attachment per email. Right. Auto attendance is a plan-specific feature or add-on. This allows you to create additional menus, whether because you want multiple menus going off of your virtual receptionist or you have separate businesses. Right. You would click on Add Attendant, give it a name, give it an extension number, and then click Create Attendant. Once an attendant is created, by default, it starts off as unavailable in main menu. So if you want it to be a menu option off of your virtual receptionist, click here on the toggle and then save changes, and then it'll show up under your virtual receptionist. Auto attendants can have their own phone number, either add from spare or buy new. You have the little wrench icon here under settings. And you see I have open hours, after hours, and holidays. This matches what you set up under the main number. The device tab shows your devices that are on the account. Red means it's unregistered, so we can't send a call to it. Green means we can. You can add devices here, just you can't assign them. For VoIP phones, if you click on the little wrench icon here under Edit, you have the basic settings. Under Advanced, you can go to the emergency caller ID. Any phone number that you've added the address to, you can associate it with a VoIP phone to have that specific address for 911 purposes, right? i.e., if someone has to call 911 from this VoIP phone, this is the address that gets transmitted to emergency services. Your Greetings tab shows all your media files on the account, right? The name is what it's called. Source, TTS, means text-to-speech. Upload means the file was uploaded. Recording means it was recorded over the phone. You have the option to play back the file directly in your browser. If that doesn't work, or you just want to have a backup copy of your file, you can click on the download icon here. Little wrench icon. This allows you to change the name of the file, so it's something easier for you to recognize, or you can delete a greeting if you don't need it any longer. Numbers tab will start you off on your numbers in use, so it shows you where they've assigned the number. Little gear icon here, so you can update the caller ID, E911 address, or prepend. Spare numbers, these are numbers you're not currently using. So if you want to get rid of them, you would click on the box in front of it, and then you have the option to delete here. Click on delete numbers to confirm the deletion, and then it's removed from your account. You can buy more spare numbers here. The port process is starting to move one phone number from, say, like AT&T to virtualpbx.com. Give it a name, choose local or toll-free, and then follow the on-screen instructions. In the show notes, use that support page link and do a search for porting a number. Voicemail boxes, this shows your voicemail boxes on the account. Anything that has a heading under here, the user, means it was created when the user was created. You can create your additional voicemail boxes up here at the top. give it a name, a voicemail box number, and PIN number, and then click on create a new voicemail box. And click the wrench icon here. One thing to know is the voicemail box number is not the same as an extension number, but you would use the both the voicemail box number and the PIN number to access the voicemail box over the phone, whether that's to change the screening or to check messages. Under advanced, you have greeting media. You can upload MP3 or WAV files directly to the voicemail box to be its greeting. You also have a temporary file, which would be for out of office or vacation message. If you have something selected under temporary and media, only the temporary file plays. Once you set temporary back to none, then the media file will play again. Recipients, your user voicemail boxes have a built-in recipient, right? The email address used for login. But any voicemail box, you can come to the recipients page and click add new recipient and add additional recipients to them. Keep clicking add until you're done and then save changes. Options, once the voicemail box has a media file and recipients, you can click on already set up. Here you can make sure that we're attaching the messages to the email. If you don't want this voicemail box to get full, right, i.e. either the person isn't good about managing their voicemail boxes, or it's like my support box where it's on a group and like, oh, there's not one person who's responsible for it. I don't want it to ever get full though. I can click on delete after notification. So the email still goes out with the voicemail attachment, but then the system deletes the voicemail from the voicemail box so it never gets full. Virtual Text Forward, this is an add-on. This allows you to have phone numbers accept text messages and then forward some on. It's not for two-way text communication. Virtual extensions is a plan-specific feature. This allows you to add additional extension numbers without adding full users. The virtual extensions can have one device. They cannot be part of a group or a queue, but they can be accessed from the main menu. Call logs just shows your call history on the account. You have today, this week, this month, and custom. Custom lets you go back 12 months. And then you would click on filter. So that you can see your call history. Each of these you could download as a CSV file. Let's see, there's a decent call here. So green arrow to the right, that's a call coming into the system. And they probably left a voicemail. If you see a yellow arrow to the left, that's a call going out from the system, meaning an outbound call. Little fire extinguisher icon will create an email for you, pre-addressed to support@virtualpbx.com, and we'll have the technical details. You're going to want to type in the context about why you're sending it in. Feature codes, these are ways for your VoIP phone users to access Dash features directly from their VoIP phones. And in the support page, either do a search for feature codes or phone command cheat sheet. Up here, so we've been in the dashboard. Call center is a plan-specific feature. These are call queues. In the show notes, you can look at the ACD QUEUES Pro demo. Queues are an advanced version of groups. There's more routing options. Users can log themselves in and out of the group, for instance, among many other things. Dynamic caller ID, add-on or plan-specific feature. This allows you to create rules to change the outbound caller ID for your VoIP phones. The outbound caller ID, those phone numbers that you choose, have to be phone numbers on your account. Faxes is your fax manager, so you can get to any fax box on your account. So you can see existing faxes, or you can see what's going on with outbound faxes. Reports opens a new tab, takes you to reports.virtualpbx.com. That's where you would create your advanced reportings or your custom reports. It's a plan-specific feature or add-on. In the show notes, you can look at the advanced reporting demo. Voicemails, as an admin, this lets you get to any voicemail box on the account. So if you're told a voicemail box is full, you can then access it and put a check marker in front of it. And here you can change its status. You can also change what voicemail box is in. You can play it back, you can download it, etc. Integration AWS, this is a plan-specific feature. This allows you to link your Dash account to an Amazon Web Services account. You just click on the configuration. You would need the access key, secret access key, and bucket from AWS in order to make use of this. But that's what you would do to like store call recordings with them versus with us. Blacklist, this is an included feature. This allows you to create a list of phone numbers that you're blocking from reaching your staff. Use the support page link for the complete instructions. Just bear in mind that the blocked calls would still show up in your call log. It'll just show up as rejected. Call recording. Because this account has AWS, it takes me to this page here, which would mirror whatever's on AWS. Otherwise, you would need to go, if you're not using AWS, you would want to open a new tab and go to recordings.virtualpbx.com. Just log in with your Dash login information and you'll see your call recordings there. Number manager, this just takes you back to your spare number page. User portal, every user has access to their own user portal where it starts off on their voicemail and they can change the status themselves. They can play it back or they can download it. Call history would show their call history. The fax tab would only be useful for people who have their own fax box, but they can see